Welcome to another episode of WJAG-TV. This week, we spiced up the Fine Arts building with an astounding mural by our very own Cedar Jaguars, enjoy an informative story about the process of impeachment of our current president, indulge in Iranian food from the International Grill, and Dominic Bielli shows us that Cedar produces a lot of phenomenal talent. I'm Aaliyah Nowell.
And I'm Barkdoll.
And this is WJAG-TV with your weekly school news.
There's new buzz about another mural happening here at Cedar focusing on fine arts such as dance, drama, orchestra, and other formats. Esmeralda Figueroa, the student who came up with the final mural design, and Broderick Flanagan, a local artist, is acting as a consultant. Here's Mikey Niswiski Castile with the details.
After the success of last year's mural project, art students at Cedar have decided once again to create a mural, this time focusing on the fine arts programs we have at the school.
Well, we had such a positive experience with Broderick Flanagan last year that I wanted to try to recreate it just within my classroom for this building, for the Fine Arts building. Now that I know that the administration is supportive of mural process, Mr. Maxwell was very supportive. I felt encouraged to write a grant for the Foundation of Excellence to get the funds to make it happen for this building.
Esmeralda Figueroa, a sophomore here at Cedar, was the one to come up with the final mural concept.
Ms. Johnson told me about it, and there were a few ideas, and she told me maybe to rethink the design or change something up, and I just went for it, whatever felt right.
The way this developed was students came together, came up with their own ideas, and then I paired them together to work further, to unify their designs.
Well, there were already a few designs out there. I picked one that needed I guess the most craftsmanship, as they say, more development, and well, I started thinking about the fine arts and what it's really about, and yeah.
In the second period class, we came up with the original concepts, and then my seventh period advanced class, they were challenged to push it further. And so the final concept that came out of that class, Esmeralda, she put together all the ideas that we had and made it into a unified whole that we all agreed on was the best concept.
Broderick Flanagan, a well-known artist here in Athens, helped Cedar students with the last mural. He is contributing again this year by taking a more hands-off approach.
I first got involved with this mural that they're working on in the Fine Arts building through some of the students, and Ms. Johnson wanted to ask me a couple of questions about the mural making process. So I, happily came back to meet with her class.
It was a collaborative process last year. Broderick had some input, and he's the one that executed it for the most part with student help. This year it will definitely be primarily painted by students in the advanced classes. Broderick has been serving as an advisor of sorts. He's come in to talk and give us some input on the mural painting process and on our designs. So he's a wonderful partner to have.
It's great working with the students here, man. The students have so much to offer this community, and they all come from varying backgrounds. But it kind of takes me back to when I was actually in the classroom on a more regular basis. I was a substitute teacher all over Clark County, and I really enjoyed working at the high schools and interfacing with the students.
We have had lots of thoughtful conversations about how we want to feel when we come into the Fine Arts building, and how to respectfully honor all the work and thinking and love that comes out of this building as well, and how that love spreads throughout Athens, and how positive the arts are.
The final product should be a gorgeous piece and brighten the halls of the Fine Arts building. We will be checking back in on the progress later this year, so be sure to stay tuned. This has been Michael Niswiski Castile with WJAG-TV News, signing off.
I wish the best of luck to the art students on making a masterpiece we will all be proud of. I'm sure of it.
Moshen Mohinsi, An Iranian native was eager to spread his culture. He opened International Grill right off Mitchell Bridge Road. Here's Cameron Branch and Sue Odiemi with more.
Mohsen Mohseni brought a mix of Iranian Persian culture to Athens when he opened the International Grill and Bar on October 12, 2019.
My wife and I always wanted to have a restaurant so that we can introduce the Iranian culture and the Persian food to people in the United States. And we started looking for a venue where we could set up our restaurant. And when we came across this place, it looked like no other place in Athens. And since our food was like no other food being served in Athens, we thought that it's a good fit.
Mohsen and his wife have been eating the food from the menu since forever and wants to bring his culture to the table for others to enjoy.
Cooked for generations, same recipe, same ingredients. The only difference between the food that we serve here in the restaurant and the food that we serve at home is that the food here is prepared in a commercial size kitchen.
Mohsen sets many high expectations for his restaurant to make sure that his restaurant reaches full potential.
Expand it, move into a bigger building, or open another one on the east side of Athens or maybe downtown in the future. But for now, our focus is in growing this business.
Starting your own restaurant or business is not an easy thing to do. Here's some tips from Mohsen on how to successfully start your own business.
Regardless of what type of business you're trying to get into, you have to be passionate about it. And you have to know that there's no 9 to 5 once you have your own business. You're on the clock 24/7. You have to work harder than anybody else and you'll have no time off. But as long as you're passionate about it, it's something that you love to do, guess what? You're gonna have fun doing it and you'll never feel tired.
WJAG-TV, this has been Sue Odiemi
And Cameron Branch
signing off.
Learning about diverse cultures is a necessary aspect in becoming a well-rounded person.
You are so right, Pace. Definitely is. You guys make sure to check out the International Grill. Politics can be overcomplicated, especially the process of impeachment. Here's Dennis Baganda with an attempt to simplify and inform us on the impeachment of President Donald Trump.
So you may have heard the topic of impeachment being circled around your friend groups, the news, and general media, but you ask yourself, what even is impeachment? So according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, impeachment is the process of charging a public official with a crime or a misdemeanor.
First, the Congress investigates. This investigation typically begins in the House Judiciary Committee, but may begin elsewhere. The House of Representatives must pass, by a simple majority of those present and voting, articles of impeachment. Then, the Senate tries the accused. In the case of the impeachment of a president, the Chief Justice of the United States presides over the proceedings. For the impeachment of any other official, the Constitution is silent on who shall preside, suggesting that this role falls to the Senate's usual presiding officer, the President of the Senate. President Trump is accused of pressuring Ukraine to dig up damaging information on one of his main Democratic challengers for the presidency of 2020, Joe Biden, and his son Hunter. Hunter worked for a Ukrainian company when Joe Biden was U.S. Vice President. The president is accused of dangling two things as bargaining chips to Ukraine: withholding $400 million of military aid to Ukraine that has already been allocated to Congress, and a White House meeting for Ukraine's president. Trump denies using U.S. military aid as a bargaining chip with Mr. Zelensky and has repeatedly insisted his call with Ukraine's leader was perfect. He has called the impeachment inquiry a witch hunt by Democrats and elements of the media. He also said it was appropriate to ask Ukraine to investigate corruption, referring to the energy firm where Hunter Biden had worked.
So the Republicans' defense comes in 3 parts. Ukraine's president felt no pressure when he was being asked questions. The Ukrainians had no real knowledge of the aid that was being put on them, and U.S. military aid was held back.
So at the moment, the House of Representatives voted to pass a resolution on the 15th of January, sending articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump to the Senate for a trial on whether to convict him or remove him from office. The House has initiated impeachment proceedings more than 60 times, but less than a third have led to full impeachments. Just 8 of all federal judges have been convicted and removed from office by the Senate. Outside of the 15 federal judges impeached by the House, 3 presidents, Andrew Johnson in 1868, William Jefferson, Bill Clinton in 1998, and Donald J. Trump in 2019, a cabinet secretary, William Belknap in 1876, and a U.S. Senator, William Blount in Tennessee in 1797, have also been impeached.
For JAG-TV News, this has been Dennis Maganda signing off.
I honestly didn't know there were so many aspects to impeachment. Thanks, Dennis. That was very informative.
Yes, indeed it was. Now to sports.
Welcome to WJAG-TV Sports News. This is Gabe Bush with Alexis Lemus. The boys basketball team has had a triumphant season, only losing 2 games so far this season. The coaches and players plan to finish off the regular season strong in a matchup versus Walnut Grove. Come to support this Friday wearing your gold and purple to honor Kobe Bryant.
Coming off of a big win against Clark Central, 56-66, the varsity boys basketball team concludes their regular season against Walnut Grove this Friday. They are currently 21-2 and ranked 6th in the Class 5A. Reflecting on the season, Coach Williams and player Ashton Haynes evaluates what the team needs to improve on in order to be successful.
We're just building on every day from what we did prior. We start off with basic fundamentals at the beginning of the year and just kind of improve on those things. Simple offensive sets, turning into more complicated sets, and just things like that. Growing offensively, defensively on things we've done from the beginning of the season.
Our defense has gotten a lot better, and our offensive execution has gotten a lot better too. Personally, I need to improve on driving the ball and kicking it to get my teammates open.
I think probably our biggest improvement has been on our just camaraderie, becoming closer as a team. That's always important, and I think from the beginning of the season to now, that's really improved a lot. So we're tested. I think it's definitely something that we're striving towards, and that's just a difficult road. Hopefully, we come out of the regular season in 1 or 2 seed and make a deep run.
He's been telling us, he's been preaching defense, and communication and containing the ball to keep the ball out of the paint.
We've been stressing consistency, making sure that we're practicing at a consistent level, at a high level, doing those things on a day-to-day basis, and not having any drop-offs during practice and during games. Anytime you beat Buford, anytime you beat Clark Central, those are big wins. So, I'm just real proud of those wins in particular, and how much the kids have grown together as a team.
We're not really focused on the playoffs right now. We're just going game to game, making sure we're prepared for each game, and when the playoffs come, we'll talk about it.
The wrestling team has had a successful season so far, thus having a positive record overall. This Saturday, the wrestling team is having an area tournament at Clark Central High School.
The wrestling area tournament is at Clark Central High School this Saturday. With the successful season so far, it's likely they qualify for state with wrestlers Austin McDavid and Corbin Umble leading the pack. Corbin Umble was ranked 8th in the state for his 285 weight class. The wrestling team, consisting of mainly lower-classmen, is planning to finish off their successful season and make many improvements to come back stronger and even better next year.
I think I've improved just being more competitive and trying to go for stuff. I feel like at the beginning I was too passive when trying to fight, but as I fought more, I feel like I've become more aggressive.
I really haven't wrestled nobody really, so I haven't really had no competition or nothing really.
My goals for next year is to either, my goals are to make it to state and maybe get first place, but I just wanted to make it to state.
Next year, improve. I will make it to state and go whatever and 0.
I'd be open to moving up a weight class, but I like the weight class I'm in right now. The competition at 120, it's basically, the dudes aren't really that big, but some of them are stronger than you would think, so they can pick people up and throw them around, but I enjoy wrestling at 120. I feel like it's a good weight class for me.
It's more stronger people, like they're way stronger than me. You just have to use technique and your speed.
That's it for this week's sports news. Now back to the studio.
Omar Martinez, a Cedar alumni from 2017, is new DJ and producer. He's now traveling around the U.S. making a name for himself with DJs such as Skrillex and Marshmello. Here's Dominic Bielli with more.
Class of 2017 graduate Omar Martinez has developed a passion for creating his own music, which is a genre called hardstyle. His skill set and mindset have grown to where he has also become a DJ since he initially learned about the genre in his sophomore year of high school at Cedar Shoals.
My ex-girlfriend, she introduced me into like the electronic dance music genre, and at first I thought it was like the weirdest genre. Like I did not like it at all. It was so weird to me, and just over time, I guess I just grew a passion for it. And I was like, you know what, like, I'm gonna actually try to make this. And that's when I went to Best Buy. I picked up like a $50 software, and I like put together some beats and stuff, and I actually found that I actually liked it a lot. So that's what kind of like made like that dream spark inside of me that I wanted to become a music producer and a DJ. Right out of high school, I wanted to like reach out to other producers and stuff, and I did. I reached out to some, and I saw they had stage names. I've never had a stage name before, so I was just making music, like uploading them like under my own name on SoundCloud. And I realized that all these guys were having stage names, and I was like, okay, I should make one up. So I forgot how it's funny actually. So I went to like a DJ name like generator, and I put it in, and my first name was Rector, and I had that for a year and a half. And then as I started to get like more advanced in my production, I noticed that some DJs would make fun of my name, you know, and I would be like, okay, yeah, I need to change it. So I did a whole rebrand, and I was talking with the label about a demo that I sent, and they wanted to sign me. So I said, okay, so why not like introduce my new name like when I signed to the label? So I'm Peruvian, so in Peruvian culture, the sun and light like really plays a huge part. So I wanted to do something with light. So I was like, Luminized, it just popped up straight into my head. So that's kind of how it came together.
After a while of making his own music, one of Omar's songs was noticed by his current manager that now handles all of his show bookings.
I posted my song in a group on Facebook. It's a hardstyle group, and it's like Europeans on there, Americans, like people around the world. And he saw my thing, and he really liked it, and he saw that I was in Georgia, and he was in Georgia as well. So he was freaked out. He was like I didn't even think anybody else in Georgia I was making this or like listen to this. So we met up, and he had a lot of connections in the EDM scene here in Atlanta, and we were friends for like a year and a half. And just recently, you know, I was like, yo, let's make you my manager, you know. So that's kind of how it all came around. At first, I signed with X-Bone Records, which is a Dutch label, and that's a sub-label of a bigger label that I am signed to right now. So I moved up a step after just one release.
Omar is currently a junior at Kennesaw State University and plans to move to Los Angeles after graduating to pursue his music career. For WJAG-TV, this has been Dominic Bielli.
It's inspiring to see so much talent that comes from Cedar alumni and the Athens community. Sky's the limit on what you can do. You just have to believe it's possible. This concludes this week's news. We'll be back next week with all new stories on the Cedar Shoals Jaguars and the Eastside community. Again, I'm Aaliyah Nowell.
And I'm Barkdoll.
And this has been WJAG-TV with your weekly school news.